Hey there, boys and girls. It's your old pal Nate from This Week in League here. Just wanted to quickly shout out our Patreon. We do exclusive membersides every week, and this coming Easter Monday, it's going to include us watching and discussing the second half of the Tigers game live. What's the sound of a little digger's heart breaking into a million little pieces? Find out Monday, only for patrons. Join at patreon.com/TWiL Nation. This week in League, the Cronulla Sharks subject the West Tigers to the most dangerous mutt since Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Congratulations to everybody that had round 6 in the Adam Reynolds injury bingo.
Gold Coast security guard offered a contract from the Dragons after displaying how he treats women.
Plus, we look ahead to all the action for round 6 in 2022 NRL season.
All that and more this week in League. Welcome to episode 454 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
How we doing, fellas?
I completely misinterpreted which line I was supposed to be reading, but adjusted on the fly like a true professional.
Yeah, I mean, you always kind of gargle a little bit, don't you?
Well, I've had my moments, if I'm honest. It's an interesting choice of words, Nathan.
I love how our pre-show conversations just sort of bleed into the fucking...
Again, interesting choice of words, Jay.
You say interesting, and I say you're interesting is my carefully selected.
Oh, no. What a great fucking week. Coming off a win. Cleary's locked in long term.
How good is winning, though?
Fucking how good's rugby league?
Oh, it's fucking
Just
fantastic.
in general.
Not that. Sorry, are you guys? Is this a press conference? Are you guys asking me questions? Because I'm not sure you're going to enjoy the answers. Rugby league is a kind of a sport, and I don't know how good winning is.
Because it has. What's the longest you've gone? What's the longest losing streak you've put up with as a Tigers fan?
I mean, like Tigers, like not Wests, because like West you would have had to deal with some shit. But that was like decades ago now. So
yeah. Well, this is because going back to the last several games of last year, this is now 8 games in a row we've lost.
Yeah.
So this is the longest streak of the Tigers.
9.
Yeah, we need 9. Yeah, that's
9.
Got to stop at 9 for sure, just for the show's sake.
So you're gonna have to win like really sharpish.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be 9. I could. Do you remember? Was it last year when we played? Yeah, last year, the Easter game last year when we played Para and they scored after about 14 seconds. It may happen quicker this week.
Was the last happy moment you had as a Tigers fan when they beat Penrith Reggies during Origin?
No, that wasn't a happy moment.
Well, you won.
Yeah, but really, it was an illegitimate joy.
Exactly.
Look, I it's been that long I can't remember. How sad is that?
There wasn't any joy after Origin, though, was there? I don't think so.
No. I mean, I think we won a couple of games, but not many. Because we lost the last 3. Yeah, no, it was pretty ordinary. Very ordinary. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get to talk about what's in store for the Tigers very shortly.
Yes, is there any news articles in particular that you guys wanted to talk about this week?
Oh, the Clearys.
Go for it. I've been away from the
Why
news
am I
all
going
day,
for it? It's not my fucking team, I think.
Please enlighten me. What happened today with the Clearys?
Well, just like West Tigers do with their players, you'll just do a worse job of this than the person related to Penrith. So please go for it.
No,
please.
The floor is yours.
Please continue,
Tyrone. I was actually going... I'll cop a lot of your shit, mate. There comes a time when you cross the line. No, I was going to be quite complimentary. I think, obviously fucking very smart move from the club, but to sign them, to 2027?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
both of them. Pretty impressive move to get it locked down. There's no speculation, no conjecture. Just it's done and on you go. Don't get bogged down with playing ducks and drakes through the media or with agents or whatever. Just get it done and get on with the job. It's quite professional, I feel. Not that I can relate, but
don't give Pascoe the chance to bring him back over to the time.
Mate, he would have. He would have, but he's in the Northern Territory.
Yeah, that's a whole other story, isn't it?
Isn't it?
He gave the ScoMo excuse as well, because of
I have to take a holiday sometime
because of things like COVID and stuff.
Now, if he comes back and resigns and goes to another job, I'll tell you what.
Which other club though sent him to Souths on a scouting mission? Fucking hell.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, look, it is a good move. It's not without risk. Obviously, we were chatting about this the other day. Has there ever been a long-term deal that's gone well?
Look,
JT.
What was the time? What was the timing on this Cleary on?
2027. They're both.
Yeah, so it's another 5 years.
It's another 5,
including this year. So
yeah,
but it is another 5 years.
I do feel this is probably this particular situation with Penrith. The father and son combination is unique and probably needs to be assessed as such.
That's it.
And
that's what does make it different, I guess. There's not the chance of, like, you look at DCE. The reason DCE's deal is a poor one in retrospect, with him as the most expensive player in the history of the sport.
Outstanding deal, club champion, fucking all-time legend of the game. Win another couple of comps before he finally decides to hang it up and.
We'll win no more comps.
Is this episode 455?
This announcement fucking certifies that DCE never wins another comp.
That's a big call, mate.
It's Penrith till 2027 now.
Considering he's directly contributed to the fucking fact that that Ivan doesn't have a fucking winning record in grand finals. So yeah. If he has to fucking beat him again in the grand final, I mean, so be it. I mean, he's done it 100% of the time, so I can't see that streak breaking.
Yep, that I can't see it either, but it won't happen because he won't make one. Won't even not win one. Won't even make one.
Incredible. I mean, honestly, it's like you were written by some kind of fucking.
It's a Panther fest.
It was like you were written by some kind of AI because I mean, my fucking God, how predictable. I think it's on vinyl. That's fucking that fucking song you're singing.
Well, hang on. Is it predictable that you breathe out after you breathe in? No, it just fucking happens. It's destiny.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to say that shit. Your destiny is that you're going to say that shit.
What do they call it when you have 5 babies? Right?
Poor life decisions.
No, it's not sextuplets, you fucking spastic. It's Quinn.
Oh, Quinn. Oh, we'll win 6 and it'll just be sex band.
Ergo, fucking...
But the reason DC's deal was a shonky one was because there was uncertainty over the coaches.
Well, there were no coaches. It wasn't that there was uncertainty over the coaches, but there was... It wasn't like this thing that the two things are bound together at the hip through blood,
exactly.
and they're not gonna, because I can't see. This is the thing. It's almost like a mutually assured destruction pact with the Panthers as well, because not only does it mean that they're probably keeping this coach and star player nucleus together for the next 5 years, it also means that from the Cleary's perspective that the club's not going to do fucking anything that could sour or poison or antagonise either of them.
Yeah,
because they're now an official package deal, and they wouldn't want to do anything to fucking
they wouldn't want to
make
do
that
anyway.
Dissatisfied.
They wouldn't want to do that anyway. But look, there's a couple of ways that this goes wrong. There's been no inkling of it in the past, but if it turns out that there's talk in the playing group that Nathan gets favourable treatment or something because it's his dad, or there's that sort of feeling. That's
Yeah,
definitely.
it's
Yeah,
not
I don't. I don't
He's the
even.
best
I don't
player
even
on
think
the
that's.
team, so he should
I
get
don't think that's a big
favourable
one. I don't
I
think
know.
that's a big one.
I'm
Anyway.
just trying to think of potential.
No, I
risks.
think it's major. I think major off-field indiscretion or something, or career-ending injury. I don't think there's any on
That's it.
anything. There's nothing on
Yeah.
Ivan's side. I think because coaches are just
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
So,
But it's a career-ending injury to Nathan,
Yep.
or it's like for either of them, I suppose. But more
Okay,
likely it's going to
serious
be with one
question.
who's actually been
Serious
doing the
question.
TikTok dances and stuff. But
what happens? Speaking of that, what happens when Tyrone comes back from Super League, or is he done? Is he never playing in the NRL again, or does
I
he
think-
do?
Why
Does he do
would
2
he,
years
though?
exile?
I think he has. I
he's
think he has a
fucking- he's
pathway.
fucking
I
their
think,
daughter.
yeah, I think he has a pathway back.
Yeah.
But I don't. But unless he's on camera, unless he's filmed, doing something illegal or immoral and capturing, Nathan dropping N bombs and Marcelo Montoya F bombs
Yeah.
on video, like it would take a lot,
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
I get it.
so.
No,
But I don't
great-
think
great
I don't think he
move.
can. I don't think he can. But I don't think that like Tyrone. I don't think it's not that he can't come back though, right?
He can't. It's that I wouldn't want him back.
No. But I mean, to the NRL, like it's not like I mean, he'll do his time over there, and if he wants to come back, and if someone wants him to come back, then he'll come back and get registered. No problem, though, right?
Yeah. Well, they refused to register. No, Penrith tore up his contract, wasn't it?
Yeah.
refused to register it.
They just sacked him over all that stuff, and then he went and took which is probably a good option, like an out of sight, out of the mind deal over there,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
to get
that's-
himself out of the discourse.
Yeah, spot on.
Um,
yeah.
This is not a story so much, but I just like we rail against journalists and shit all the time, right?
Yep.
And like the shit journalism. I just want to highlight an example of good journalism that happened over the past round. I don't know if you saw this, but the Bulldogs game at the post-match press conference, and the guy's name is Mike Mihal Wood, asked the question, a very specific question to Trent Barrett, and said, "Look, Trent, I was just looking it up here. Kyle touched the ball 21 times in that match. And in the previous games with other halfbacks, Wakeham averaged 29 and Averillo 33. And so the first time he got into good ball, I think it was off a 40-20, Kyle stationed himself on the right. And in 3 times the ball started to go out that way, then came back inside with a forward. It's something I've noticed happens quite a lot. Do you think potentially you struggle to get your halfbacks involved in good ball?" Which is a question with evidence to back it up. Very specific examples given
Yeah.
of the game that just happened, and Trent Barrett just goes, Josh Jackson started laughing, and Trent Barrett just goes no, and just brushed it, like completely brushed it. And I saw it. It came across me on Twitter on the Monday morning or whatever, with someone going, "This is the worst question that's ever been asked at a press conference, and it was dealt with appropriately." I'm like, hang on a fucking minute. The questions asked at press conferences are shit like, are you happy with the way the boys dug deep this week?
Yeah.
Like, this is a fucking specific question using statistics of the fucking 4 or 5 games that preceded it, making a very clear point saying, Trent, your halfbacks are touching the ball at a fucking far lower rate than any, like, for example, like Daly will touch the ball, 60 plus times a game. And so when your halfbacks are touching the ball mid-20s, I mean, it's a fucking pertinent question when the team is the worst attacking team in the competition at the moment and can't score points.
Here's the thing, okay? If I have to pick a criticism, let's say then that a press conference was the wrong forum for that. As in, what would have been much better would have been for this guy, whoever he is. Is he a staffer somewhere, or
He is an editor at the Raw, I think.
cool? So for him to actually sit down and write an article and say,
And he has done that since too, to
Cool.
elaborate even more on the point that he
there you
made.
go. So then maybe that question didn't even need an answer, and maybe the question was an advertisement and a smart one.
The only thing I would
his
say is
article.
that the question was kind of long, but if the forum of asking coaches and the player, the captain that they bring up, asking them questions about the match that just happened, if that's not the forum to ask questions about that sort of shit, then I mean,
No, but so then it would have been. So we're going to reach out to him for comment, and they would reach out to him through the club and say, "Hey, we're releasing an article that says this. Do you have any comments?"
yeah, that's fine. But I mean, my point is, press conferences are just the dumbest fucking questions. Like, oh, such and such went good tonight. You must be happy with that.
Yeah,
such and such returned from injury. Oh, gee, how'd he go? Like, it's just they're just another arm of another branch of the tree of fuck journalism. That's that we're dealing with at the moment.
It's so good to see something different.
And it was refreshing for someone to actually ask a question, football related, and it was just an absolute confirmation of the fucking brainlet that fucking Trent is. That he just brushed it without even considering providing an answer.
Strategy conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because this is the thing here that he. I mean, like, it's great he didn't want to answer the question. That's fine. However, it just felt like that he didn't even understand how to answer it, which should be concerning to people who support the Bulldogs.
My issue is then that all that does is turn into another media circle jerk, where all the attention will now be that Trent didn't want to answer the question.
Yeah,
instead of actually looking at the question itself.
From what I've seen, most people are like going. People always say, "How come they don't talk about footy in the press conferences?" Here was an opportunity to talk about footy and didn't,
There you go. Yeah.
Like so.
That's it.
So yeah, I just figure that we go in hard on these fucking journalists.
Nah, fucking well done, whoever that dude is.
So like I wanted to light a candle for perhaps one of the first times in the history of this show.
I love it. That fucking 2022 vibes.
I just wanted to take Mike Nealwood down to the Dairy Queen and tell him Izzy sent you. Like, okay, that's it. Yes. Legend.
Fuck yes. I wonder if anyone's actually figured out what the fuck we're on about.
Yeah, the only way that someone that can convince me that they know what we're talking about is by literally embedding the link. You got to prove it. That's how you prove it.
Oh dear Lord!
It is the most wholesome, heartwarming piece of internet content. I legit had fucking happy tears. I wish I was that fucking...
And I reacted like the way that you would expect Jay to react.
Exactly.
And Jay reacted like Glennie would.
Shall we move on quickly to the West Tigers side of the news?
No.
Is that something you want to talk about now, or is it something we'll talk about when we're just discussing the game ahead in the team list?
Oh, look, our old mate Pascoe.
Yeah, so he's on holiday up in the Northern Territory at the moment.
Glennie, how do you feel about that?
It's they've trotted out the same line that, you had to postpone it a couple of times due to COVID, but then...
Yeah, guess what? I've had to postpone a couple of fucking trips too. But I'm not leaving during podcast season. No.
Two things, as Nate just mentioned. Your job is to be at the helm of a rugby league club which operates at a particular time during the year, at which point you would be fair to say you're probably not going on annual leave during that time.
Yep.
There are several other months during the year that you can take as much annual leave as you fucking want, I suspect.
Yes.
Right? That in itself is inexcusable, regardless of what was postponed or not postponed. Fuck, if you have to burn whatever you've put towards that holiday to be there doing your fucking job, then so be it. On top of that, this is a club that, some would say has been declining for more than a decade. And it has stumbled from crisis to crisis and fucking shit show to shit show for more than 10 years. And the current situation that the Tigers are in is amongst the worst. I won't say it's the worst. It's probably not far off, but as I'm saying it, I probably struggle to think of much worse times than we've been in right now. This club's in a fucking shambles.
Glenn, is it the longest finals drought in NRL history, or just for the club?
No, just if it's for the club. I mean, the Eels are going on 30 odd years. Remember?
No, finals.
Oh, finals. Oh, just finals appearances. Oh, okay.
I think it is the longest drought. Drought, right?
Yeah, because they do have that reset clocked in there where Newcastle kind of got back in after a long time out. And,
exactly. So there's taking annual leave during, to not be out there doing your job as as essentially, whether anyone likes it or not, he's pitched himself as, you know, the man at the Tigers, the guy in charge. Fucking be in charge. If nothing else, as an aesthetic thing, for the club and the media, that he's there, and he likes to think he's in control. And if he's around the place, lazy journalists would assume that he's in control and he's doing the job right. He's not there. On top, as I started to say, on top of that, if there's ever a time where they need all hands on deck and all those guys, whether it's Maguire, who hasn't shied away, he's tried to trot out. It's almost toxic positivity at the moment that he's trotting out in the press conferences, which is frustrating me. But it's also, you know, he's up there after every game, and that's part of his job. So the part of the CEO's job is to be around the fucking place and stand by the guy if they've made it clear that they're intending to stand by him for the time being. No timeline on that. Why the fuck are you interstate when the club is in a fucking crisis? Rome is burning, and he's fucking backstroking.
He's fucking
Roman
Polanski.
I mean, is it you know, was it ever Rome? No, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Rome. I mean, like, you know, Dapto at best.
Eds is burning. And Pascoe is at the Rudy Hill RSL playing
like
the pokies.
The shittest fucking fifth sequel to that Morgan Freeman Gerard Butler series. Olympus has fallen. Eris has fallen.
No, it's fucking gross. It's a gross. The thought process or the decision to go doesn't surprise me in the slightest. That's probably one of the saddest parts. So,
but even when there are so many other ways, because look, let's put a caveat on this. Just like on our Membersode episodes, you know, where we speak about different topics, we've spoken about how important it is to get away from work and to have your outlets and to take care of your mental health. Let's say that he is under severe stress, and let's say that his mental health is suffering, and he thought a nice break to the fucking NT could go up and you know, help him heal a bit. That's fine, but there are ways that you can adjust that. Like, I'm not sure that even if he's got to burn the cost of a couple of return tickets, Sydney to Darwin, I'm sure he can eat that expense, whereas, you know, many other people can't. But to then be able to go, you know what? Look, actually,
to be honest, Penrith probably paid for those tickets.
Yeah, correct. But they probably gave it to him in the Dane Laurie swap. But he's that, you know, cool, take the time then. If you really need the time, if it's for your mental health, then it's the time that's important, unless you go into a rehab facility or a hospital or a special doctor up there, which I doubt he is.
No, that would have made the media for sure.
Yeah, but take the time, but stay local. You know?
Agreed.
But stay local. And then it's a different fucking story. Justin Pascoe was unavailable for comment.
Yeah.
You know, look, I'm on some annual leave at the moment. I did have an interstate holiday booked, but I've decided to stay local. I still need some time off, as everybody does. But I am local in case I'm needed. No story.
Exactly.
No fucking story.
Exactly.
It's fucking poor corporate leadership.
Well, yeah, it's poor leadership in any capacity, and again, doesn't surprise me. Sometimes, you know, actions will speak louder than words, and you know, for all the bleating that we stand by Madge, and you know, he's the guy we're sticking by, and all the rest of it. When Eds is burning, he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's talk about some games.
Fuck yeah.
There's another news stories that are going to crystallise over the next couple of weeks, I think, in regards to one Anthony Milford. Now his case has been dropped, so hasn't happened yet. But I heard the other day that he's pretty much, the contract with Newcastle exists and they just need to register it when the NRL decide that the case is settled and he's able to be registered. He's ready to join the playing group. The new twist I heard is that it'll be for like 1 year at Newcastle, and then he's done and dusted coming up to Redcliffe.
All right.
For the inaugural Dolphins year. So we'll see what that happens.
Look, should we spend our just drop a note on the slur issue from the Warriors Cowboys game?
Sure.
And just the fact that action was taken and that's a positive.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, like it sort of flew around social media for a little bit because people watching the telecast caught it before anyone else. Then the news places caught up with it and demanded action, and the NRL was fairly quick and decisive, I think, in quickly identifying the player being Marcelo Montoya, and basically removing his ability. He wasn't really to front the judiciary. They just made their decision that he was going to cop a 4-weeker.
Yep.
And look, I think that's about right. Honestly, I think it was decisive and quick punishment. It shouldn't be happening in the year of our Lord 2022 on the fucking football fields. And so the organisation governing it took fairly swift action, and hopefully it's provides a valuable lesson to both Marcelo and other players who flippantly throw stuff around in the heat of battle on the football field.
Yep.
I think that's about all that really needs to be said about it. Yeah,
that's it.
I was actually impressed. I was impressed with the quick and decisive action from the NRL and a penalty imposed instantly, and
also I've been pleasantly surprised from the lack of opposition to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you drill down to like replies on Twitter posts, you're gonna see some fucking shit.
Really?
You're gonna see some shit from the turn of the century for sure. But I saw someone say, look, it's a good time to highlight this. We do like Women in League and all these the Anzac round and that sort of stuff. Why not have like a Pride round or something like that? And I made the utterly fatal mistake to fucking click on the replies to that one.
Oh no!
And
what were you thinking?
It went about exactly the way that you thought it would go. So let me tell you, it's out there in a big way, and it's not. And the people who are out there with it, they're not trying to hide it either. They're quite happy to just come right out of it.
Fuck.
So yeah, we've got a long way to go, but at least something that happened on the field was dealt with instantly. And let's hope that.
What are they scared of though? Like, are they scared that there's roaming packs of gay people that'll be empowered, and that word's a sacred sigil that keeps them down and starves them of their power?
Look, I'm going to give you an insight into the mind. One of the first comments I saw on the replies to that thread was, "Oh, when's heterosexual round then?" That's the level. That's the level we're dealing with. It's the same people that say, when's International Men's Day? It's fucking, all lives matter. Like, it's just they're all cut from exactly the same fucking cloth. Like, it's fucking hell, man. It just does my head in. But yeah.
Okay.
Less cloth, more Hessian sack, I would suggest. Fucking cunts.
Okay. Anyway.
So, I guess, so one last thing that came, there was not controversial. I mean, I don't find it controversial at all, but there was talk that the Gold Coast Titans were investigating the security guard that dropped the hammer on that chick who ran onto the field the other night.
Yep.
That's what fucking security's job is.
Yeah.
Every time you see a streaker or someone on the field, they always get hammered. Security don't know what if they're brandishing anything, what their intentions are as they get close to the playing group on the field, so on. They just got to remove them from the equation quickly.
Old mate had a flare,
and that guy got fucking right out onto the field amongst it. What was the security doing in that game?
Exactly.
That's more the conversation I'd be having.
Yeah.
And again, let us just to clear it up, new listeners, we have a long fucking established stance on, zero tolerance on violence against women. That I wouldn't even say that was excessive force.
No.
So
It's every time there's a streaker or a field invasion, that's part of that. That's part of the contract. They get on the field,
issue.
they run until they get puffed, or the security get the fucking right angle on them and corral them, and then they get hammered. It is the circle of life if you jump that fence. And
That's it.
Regardless of your gender.
no, it could because once you jump that fence, the viewpoint that the security should
You're a
take,
threat.
given that they've got millions of dollars worth of playing talent on the field, yeah, their job is to stop them getting injured, attacked, assaulted, whatever. And so you're this genderless thing called a fucking threat.
That's it.
And
To
you're
be fair,
dealt with the
would
way
the
that,
same people have as much to say if, as Jay mentioned, if she was brandishing a knife and did stab one of the players, and if he didn't tackle her, would they be saying, "Where the fuck
Where
was the security? Why didn't they fucking lay her out?"
Yeah.
You know.
Look, again, you can go down into it and say that, okay, security should have been better trained because then they have to make accurate threat assessments, and it's incredibly unlikely for a woman to commit acts of violence to do compared to a male. You know, that's a pretty fucking long bow to draw, to be honest.
but it's also not like he coat hanged her and then started ground and pounding her either.
No, exactly.
Did he
just-
teabag her afterwards?
Oh, Jesus.
That would have been fucking great.
He gave her he gave her the Gutherino.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking storm in a teacup.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up, you whingers. Find anything to whinge about. Save it for the real fucking issues, like the security you let a guy with a flare onto the field, absolutely unaccosted for way too long, and the Marcelo Montoyas.
Yes.
Save your words for that. This week's games, we have Thursday night one. First one up, Canberra Raiders taking on North Queensland Cowboys. Rematch of their game a couple of weeks ago. This time down in Canberra. The Raiders side, what do we got here? Savage replaces Frawley on the bench. Frawley drops to reserves, and there is a back injury cloud at this stage over Timoko. So Jared Croker is there in the 22, waiting to slot in. The Cowboys side, Hess returns at prop, pushes Cotter to the bench, and Niami and Tanoa Brown are out of the squad. Lemuelu joins the bench, and that's about it. So this one's a rematch of a game that happened up in North Queensland a couple of weeks ago, where the Cowboys fucking destroyed the Raiders. In a game like the certainly the magnitude of their win was a surprise, if not the fact they won.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, in the time since, the Cowboys have remained to be pretty good at teams around their level. I still maintain that game against the Warriors last week, they definitely let that slip just through some poor goal line defence and one-on-one tackles that needed to be made sort of, in that 10-metre zone. And where they just sort of shepherded them, ushered the guys straight through for tries. Yep. The Raiders, they weren't as bad as 30-16 against the Storm, or 30-14, whatever it was last week. They were fairly good in that game, I thought. I mean, the Storm were the better side, well and truly, but the Raiders were fairly competitive in that game.
I expect this to be a very competitive game, and not a replay of their first meeting a few weeks ago. Probably tending towards the Raiders at the moment. I think the Cowboys, as you say, Nate, I think they will rue that game last week as potentially at the end of the season as one that they really should have won, and that could have an impact on their position on the ladder. I think the Raiders are probably be better for the performance against the Storm despite their loss, and I think they'll win.
Yeah, I'm favouring the Raiders as well, but not without a great deal of confidence. I mean, partially one of the things that's making me lean towards the Raiders is just because the Cowboys are a team that they just don't travel well.
Yeah,
and that may be the difference between two teams that are otherwise around the same sort of level.
I think Canberra's ceiling's higher. That's what it comes down to.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
And And against Melbourne, those little slip-ups you have, you pay for. And if you don't pay for them right then and there, they just go into the bag of weight of possession that Melbourne have to grind you down. There's a much better chance they have against the Cowboys. So, yeah, Canberra.
Okay, the first game on Good Friday at the earlier time of 4 p.m, the traditional one between the Rabbitohs and the Bulldogs. Rabbitohs side, as we mentioned the other day, Latrell is out for 8 weeks, so Taffy comes into fullback, and Selly joins the bench. The Doggy side, not too many changes, despite the fact that, fifth verse was the same as the first. Patolo returns to the bench. Avasi Manafani pushes back to reserves, and Corey Allen is listed in number 25 as he starts to take the long road back from his hamstring injury. I think he played. Did he play in Reggie's? I think he may have played for them in Reggie's last week. So he's starting to make his push back, and so I guess with Corey Allen regaining fitness, it's the clock is ticking on the career at fullback of one Matthew Duffy.
Yeah, fuck.
Kyle Flanagan maintains his position because, frankly, he probably showed the best play they've had out of a 7 this season so far. Yep. He should have been there since the start. Maybe things would have been a little bit different. Certainly not in the results, but maybe some of those other games could have been tightened up a little bit. So we'll see there. Look, even without Latrell, this one's there for the Rabbits to lose.
Yeah,
it is one of those games, though.
It's one of those. See the Rabbitohs losing this game.
Yeah, but also it's an occasion game as well.
Yeah, but they're not playing. I mean, it's
the
not the Tigers.
The Dragons lift against the Roosters when they have, the Dragons lift against Souths for the Charity Shield. The Dragons lift against the Roosters for Anzac Day. The Rabbits, the Bulldogs will lift against the Rabbits for this game. Will that be enough? No, I don't think. Not even close. I don't think.
No.
I think it's a fairly comfortable win coming up to the Rabbits.
Yeah,
with
correct.
The Doggies hanging in there for probably, the vast majority of the first half, perhaps.
I think the Rabbitohs forwards will be too strong and control the middle, which will give Cook space, and when Cook has space, the Rabbitohs tend to put points on, and I don't think the Bulldogs have anywhere near enough points in them to go with the Rabbitohs.
Correct.
Another good game to further the development of Ilias as well.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, the Friday night game. Penrith Panthers take on the Brisbane Broncos in Penrith. No changes to the squad for the Panthers. And the Broncos side, Payne Haas suspended. So Jensen starts at prop. Kennedy joins the bench. This is one of the longer odd games this week.
$9 for the Broncos at the moment.
Yep. So I think it's the longest odds of the round, and for good reason. I don't think the Broncos have a fucking chance in hell. If it was in Brisbane, perhaps it might be one of those nuisance value games where the Broncos forwards kind of stand up and and hold them for 60 minutes.
They do get up. They do get up for Penrith games.
Yeah, they do. You mentioned that
it was
last year.
Last year, and it was also.
But remember, last year they all happened up here too.
They did,
thanks to the draw and COVID.
Yeah, and in 2020. When Penrith had that amazing run in 2020.
Yep.
And they played Brisbane up here. Now I went to that game, so we mustn't have been in any sort of lockdown. And it was about the worst game that Penrith had played all year.
Yeah.
And they just scraped home. And it was a similar situation last year. So whether that's a case of, Penrith don't like being in scrappy games so much where they can't get their rhythm in.
Yep.
But I think that they're in a pretty good frame of mind at the moment. The only concern I've got is that they've been drifting in and out of games they know they should win a little bit, and any team can hurt you for that. It's probably, definitely to their advantage that they don't have to worry about Haas and Reynolds. But yeah, Penrith 13 plus.
Yep, I would agree. I don't think this one's going to be an issue for the Panthers at all. Unlike those ones that you mentioned, I think the Broncos. It feels like the Broncos are regressing, and that's with Payne Haas and Adam Reynolds in the side.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
know, if those guys are removed, then you're taking the two best by far players out,
Yep.
and replacing them with not a lot.
I think this is a game where Penrith will
Slaughter.
fine tune some of their attack and blow out some if there's any cobwebs in there, they'll be fucking blown out after this game. I can't see Brisbane getting close.
Yep. Okay, we move to Saturday, and the first game, the mighty Manly Seagulls take on the Gold Coast Titans at Brookie, hoping to maintain their undefeated home record for the season. Morgan Harper is out with the Covid, which means that the club is in that beautiful position where we may see regime change in the back line. So Kohler is replacing him in the centres. Christian Tuipulotu maintains his position on the wing with Garrick at fullback, but we may see the lineup that we were going to see last week, where Kohler at fullback, Garrick on his wing, and then Christian perhaps moving across to take the centre spot from Harper. And this is the thing, Desi's very loyal to players, and he doesn't chop and change all the time. And he's obviously through the loyalty thing. But if a player gets injured and then another player comes in, and especially if they've got a couple of games to play in that position, and if they play amazingly well and own that position, then that's when change happens. That's how Sully got forced out of the club when Harper started playing out of his skin when he first took over when Sully was injured last year. That's how Homoli cemented his position when Curtis Sirenan was injured and and gave him his opportunity. And so hopefully we get to see some of these exciting young guys that I think will be backline staples over the coming years, really get their chance. The Titans side, what have we got here? Still no Campbell Jr., so Osaka at fullback. Brian Kelly returns in centre, so that pushes Philip Sami to the wing and Corey Thompson to the reserves. Proctor is out at the 17 with Sam Lissone promoted to the bench.
You shouldn't have any troubles with this one.
For me, the Titans they're an enigmatic side. They clearly have attacking skill, and they've put on a lot of points, but you just don't know what you're going to get out of them. I mean, you had that game where they were dominating Canberra at the half. It was Canberra, and then they came back on them. They had the game where they were down by 20-22 to the Eels last week. Came back, made a game of it. They had that shootout with the Eels earlier in the season.
Yep.
It's hard to know what to expect. So I look at Manly with more predictable things. They've only let one try a game in over the last couple of weeks. Their defence has been pretty good since the second half of round 2. That seems to be a constant. So I think if the Gold Coast Titans can get out to a 3-try lead at halftime, there's a very good chance that Manly can run them down. If Manly got out to a 3-try lead by halftime, I think they could defend it and not have one of these situations where the Titans just start coming back hard and making a game of it.
No,
so
Manly.
Yeah, Manly 13 plus.
Hopefully, I mean, we've got a bit of a streak over Titans. Last year it was 36-0 and high 50s to mid 20s or something in that game at Seabus. But yeah, hopefully they continue the trend. And next up, the Saturday evening game, the Melbourne Storm take on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks down there at the Korean Housewife. Are they playing every fucking game at home this year? It feels like every week these cunts are at home. Meanwhile, Manly, they've only played one game at fucking Brookie all season. This is their second one this week. But fucking Storm, I feel like I say Korean Housewife
Brookie
every damn week.
surface wouldn't hold up, mate. They've got one
mate,
game every
best
2 months.
Didn't you take a game to Mudgee?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we
so you've
did.
had 2 home games.
Yeah. I know, just don't fucking ruin my narrative.
Where are you playing this week?
Hey, Brookie.
So at the end of 6 rounds, you'll have had 3 home games.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that Storm have had 6. This is their 6th straight home game. Look, I just want to be super crystal clear, and just say, there at no stage have facts ever played a fucking major role in the production of this podcast, and I resent you trying to start it now. The Storm side, no movement there except on the extended bench where Alec McDonald drops to the reserves and Tyron Wishart moves into the 15 jersey. Sharky side, Tolman replaces Royce Hunt on the bench, and after his late withdrawal last week, and that's it.
Actually looking forward to this game.
Informed teams.
Be good to see where the Sharkies are at, and Melbourne playing good football. I think it'll be very competitive, and I think it'll be a high quality game. I expect Melbourne to win in a tight one.
Yeah, I think Melbourne will win. It'll be the first time that we've seen this Sharks group put up with a bit of pressure.
Yeah, because you remember they had that great win over. They had the great win over Parramatta
Whoa!
a couple
What
of weeks
about
ago.
last week, guys?
What? They had the great win over Parra a couple of weeks ago, but I also feel like that game was perhaps the catalyst for Parramatta to find their attack and start their run as well. I think that was when that was the shaky Parramatta that had that shootout against the Titans in the first round and stuff.
And in all of their wins so far for Cronulla, it's been their defence has been serviceable, but it's been their attack and what they've done when they've had their opportunities and some individual brilliance that's gotten them home. How they go for a full 80 minutes against a top tier side like Melbourne, I'll be very interested to see. I think they've got it in them, but I'm not sure they're ready to put it all together this early in the season.
Yeah, I can't go past a Storm just because of what they've shown us already this season. They're pretty much the finished article, certainly for this early stages. Sharks have got they've got a lot of improving to do under more time with Skull or wherever their coach is. I think it's that ex-Dragons guy Skull, isn't it? From what I've seen in the box. And the thing that worries me about the you were talking about you were complimenting the attack of the Sharks, but I counter that with saying they only scored 30 points last week, and to me that's a worrying. I mean, if there was a 50 burger on offer under the current rule set, that was it, and they didn't do it. They didn't even get close.
Correct.
So I think they're probably after the Dogs, they're probably the second worst attacking side in the competition based on that evidence.
Jesus Christ!
Look at Gleddy. He just can't fucking get anything out of him. Did you just have one of those seizures where you just sort of just leave us for a minute?
No, it's all just a bit painful.
What do you reckon, Glennie? Who you got for this one then?
Look, my fucking screen has just fucked out, which is not great.
What does that mean?
I literally lost all the details, and my computer has just frozen, and my screen's gone black. So,
yet you're still on Skype successfully.
Yeah, no, the fucking Microsoft Internet Explorer Edge or whatever it is decided to capitulate in front of my very eyes.
So it's not so much your computer, it's your web browser that's gone.
Yeah.
How does it feel, Glenn?
Oh,
does Bill give you a call every day and thank you for being the person that uses Microsoft Edge?
Oh, fucking hell. Here we go. Sorry, which game are we talking about again?
Storm and the Sharks.
More importantly, are we still recording?
Yes. I checked that.
Yeah, good.
Fuck, that was
weird.
weird.
Now that you can see the names of the teams in front of you, even though we've just been talking about them for 3 or 4 minutes. Do you have an opinion on which of those teams are going to win?
I expect the Storm to win in a tight one. I did say that earlier.
Yeah, you did. I thought I was going to give you a chance to elaborate on reasons and things like that, but
no, I think the Sharks will get to a very high level, but similar to what Jay said, I think it's a little early in the season for them to be at their ceiling, whereas the Storm, it's business as usual. But I am looking forward to seeing just where the Sharks sit in comparison to a side like the Storm.
Right.
Much like Microsoft Edge, the Melbourne Storm are efficient and crisp and work when they need to.
It's really fucking weird. I don't actually know what happened.
Sponsor us, Microsoft.
Anyway, she's back now. It's all good.
Great. Okay, so we move to Easter Sunday. The Roosters take on the Warriors at 2 p.m. The Roosters side, Takeaho is back on the bench. Saluka Fafita drops out. And Drew Hutchison out of the 17. Sam Verrills returns to hooker. And Connor Watson in 14. The Warriors side, Marcelo Montoya is out with the previously mentioned slur. DWZ returns on the wing to replace him. And Katoa, the shit Katoa, on the bench. and Jack Murchie out of the squad. Actually, that's not shit Katoa. It's fucking Eliasa, not the shit Sione. So, my mistake. I apologise to you, sir. You're a very good Katoa. Not quite as good as the Sharkies one.
Roosters by plenty in this game.
The Roosters, I'm still not sold on the Roosters. I'm sold more on the promise of the Roosters and what we're seeing in terms of consistency and.
But surely what you've seen of the Roosters is enough to beat the Warriors.
Yeah, but like the Broncos had their way.
Go and put a Warriors jersey on, cunt. Which one are you going to pick?
Look, I ain't going to pick the Roosters, but I'm just saying it's not like I'm not as emphatic about it as you. I mean, obviously the ceiling for the Roosters is higher.
It's because you know nothing about rugby league, Nathan.
The Roosters are resting on some laurels. The Roosters are resting on
the Broncos. The Broncos handled them for like 70 minutes.
Yeah.
And the Broncos are most definitely regressing from where they started this season.
The Roosters are living on Robbo as a coach and what he's been able to achieve. They're living on Teddy at fullback, who's having more ups and downs this year than usual.
I don't think I've been super impressed with Tedesco this season so far.
And handling errors and concentration have been plaguing them, and that's not something you would typically say of the Roosters. So
fair.
I think we're almost at the point where if they don't start putting some of these sides away and doing it fairly clinically, then we will have to reconsider their top four, shoe-ins.
Big call.
Well, Glennie, do you remember last year? It was Manly are a top four side except for their handling. And Nate said it a bunch of times. If only they can fix their handling, they're a top four side. Can they do it? No, they couldn't do it. So the Roosters are very close to finding themselves in that predicament.
It's much like I like to say, Jay, that the Tigers are a top four side if they knew how to play rugby league.
Right. We move.
So after all that, you're still tipping the Roosters, right?
Yeah. Just not as emphatically as you though.
Yeah, fuck the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors are good at a certain level.
What are you got against the Warriors?
And if the Roosters play down to that level, like they did last week against the Broncos, then it makes for a competitive game.
But seriously, what's your anti-Warriors agenda?
No, it's not really an anti-Warriors agenda. And what are you talking about me saying anything about the Warriors when you go on a anti-New Zealand rant every week for the last 3 weeks?
I fucking love the Warriors. The sacrifice they gave to keep the game afloat during COVID.
Oh, how great.
It's a country he's got a problem with. I mean, it's obvious, man.
And it nothing to do with the people in the country.
Well, they're all in Australia.
Yeah. Well, the Warriors are, yeah. Based at Redcliffe.
How good.
Yeah.
Why don't you go and fucking watch them?
Sean Johnson fucking cleaning that coals out of their fucking sponge cakes. down at Peninsula Fair.
Oh, imagine whoever, probably call that sponge cake Sean. Sean the sponge cake. Jot it down, cunt. Jot it down.
All right. I've had like 2 or 3 options already, but maybe I'll make that one. Maybe that'll be the one.
Glennie calling out the episode titles is it the closest thing in the world to someone
to the Dairy Queen, the Dairy Queen video.
Somebody trying to give themselves a nickname.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Easter Sunday afternoon, the St George Illawarra Dragons take on the Newcastle Knights in Wollongong. Josh Maguire and Tyrell Fuimaono return from their long suspensions from last year. Maguire on the bench along with George Burgess. Fuimaono is a reserve. Forward drops to the reserves with Burgess being promoted. And Kerr starts at prop with Woods out of the 17.
Oof.
One of the first.
How does Josh Maguire get rushed back in the side?
Yeah, I know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He was suspended for so long they forgot how shit he was.
Of all of Griffin's fuckery, that's up there.
Yeah. I mean, he's still maintaining. He's still continuing with the Moses and Wyatt fullback. and with Sloan out of the side, and look, I don't know. The Knights side. Okay, so Clemmer returns at prop. Jacob Saifidi's benched. Mumasi is out of the side injured. Dominic Young's out injured. So Edric Lee may return. He's named in number 2 for a long-awaited return with a foot injury that I think he sustained in about 2016.
Yeah, fuck.
This is an opportunity for the Dragons, I think. The Knights' season's been fucking ended. Their season was ended last week. They'd still be shattered.
No, what was their first loss?
I'm talking about their first loss where they had a guy in a sin bin. I'm talking the one where they had no excuses and they got beaten by fucking two additional tries. Now, they got murderous Frank Molo in the side. Give him a mission. So pick up fucking Callum Ponga, give him the business, give him the jitters, knock him out of the game. Legally, you just scare him, and that's the end of the team. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Even when you do leave him alone and don't bash him, it's still a lottery whether he actually has a level of involvement that's going to spark something in attack.
Yeah.
So give him the business, knock him out of the game, and then run that train. I shouldn't say that about a side with Jack de Belin in it, I suppose.
Oh, jeez, that's very poor advice.
It is.
And I think counter to that, though, this is the sort of game where the Dragons have been guilty of being a bit lazy, especially around the middle third of the field this year. And I feel that Newcastle can take advantage of that. So it's really is an opportunity for both teams, for the Dragons to actually get in and show that they have some hope of putting together some cohesive football. But for the Knights to say that they can get back to that style of football, that gritty, high intensity football they played through the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, and you won't see the Dragons throwing multiple different attacking players up through the centre just to exhaust the forwards and
That's it.
Get them rolling backwards.
Yeah.
Like Andrew McCulloch, my God, we talked about it on Monday.
Please, please.
When he tried to go himself from 10 metres out, it may be the slowest officially timed 10-metre sprint in the history of mankind.
Yep.
He looked every minute of his age.
Yeah, 100%.
So they don't have a lot there, but yeah. Look, I expect the Knights to win, but if the Dragons are serious, this should be a game that they look at as an opportunity.
Dragons are actually $1.65 favourites in this game, which I think is fucking ridiculous.
Why so favourite? Why the favouritism?
I don't know.
Like
My
if it was like a
John
dollar,
Sportsbet, I don't fucking understand.
If it was like $1.90 to something, like fair enough. Like they said, made it a bit of a toss up of a game, but like, so what's that make the Knights in like $2.30 or something?
$2.25, which is good value given. I think that there is absolutely no chance that the Dragons win this game, and I think the Knights will actually handle them reasonably comfortably. I think their forwards are better. I think their halves are better.
What have the Knights shown you over the last 2 to 3 weeks, though, to make you think that they're going to handle them easily?
Well,
I'm not saying they're not going to win, but like I don't know about easily though.
Yeah, I think fuck the Dragons, and I think the Knights will.
Now it comes out.
I just don't rate the Dragons. I don't rate their fans. I don't rate their coach. And I don't rate their players. And the fact that they don't have Sloan in the side shows they have no desire to actually compete or win football games, and I think the Knights will win.
Yeah.
I think they'll control. They'll be too strong in the middle to start with, and then it'll create space. I think Clifford's kicking game will be important, and this is the type of game where Ponga will have a few highlight reel moments, and that'll give him some more good grace in the media for another month or so.
All right. Easter Monday, final game of the round.
Oh,
The Eels take on the West Tigers. And this one's taking place at 4 p.m. on Easter Monday, so set your alarms for this one, guys. It's going to be an absolute fucking blockbuster. The Parramatta Eels have lost Wanga Blake through knee injury, so that brings Murata Nikore into the centres. Penasini moves to the wing. Junior Polo suspended, so he's replaced by Oregon Kafusi. And Sean Lane is named in the second row, with Matto dropping to the bench and Bryce Cartwright to the reserves. And I see that Zach Sini in 24 for the Eels. I didn't know he was there. I thought he was somewhere else. I knew he wasn't at the Tigers anymore, but yeah, maybe he's been primed for a revenge game. The West Tigers
with
side.
number 24 on his back, he may as well run onto the field with a flare.
Now, he's really got nothing to offer the game of rugby league now that Pappy's fully committed to his mullet.
Yeah.
He's got nothing left.
Exactly.
Wholesale changes in Tiger Town. Dane Laurie returns from the COVID protocols into fullback. Stafford Tyre goes to the wing. Peachy, Little, Gildart and Malmello dropped while still on the extended bench though. Simpkins starts at hooker. Jock Madden drops to 14. And while he's not a Corey Peterson on the wing selection, Luke Garner still in the centres.
Yeah. It's so
showing
ridiculous.
that Tim Sheen's influence already.
Yeah. It's slowly seeping in.
So the other big one, of course, is the huge. Well, if you believe what you read in the papers, Jackson Hastings in the 7. They've changed the number on the back of Luke Brooks's jersey to fully unleash him. Furthermore, Luke Brooks has come out.
You make a good journalist. Did you actually read that in an article saying something to that effect? Or those exact words?
Yeah, pretty much. And furthermore, Luke Brooks has come out in the media and said something to the effect of he doesn't listen to or give a fuck about the opinions of armchair critics. To which I'll say, that's a valid point of view, Luke Brooks. But I will say that whilst I am an armchair critic, I have played the same amount of finals games in the NRL as you have, lad. So,
oof. Reverse how many games you played.
How few games have you played?
And I've done it with less fucking games under my belt. And so's fucking Glenny. So look, fucking shut it, you hobbit.
I've never really
rationalise this one for me, Glenny. How's it going to happen?
Well, I tell you what, the scoring is going to start very early on. I suspect within the first minute, and I think that there'll be a lot of tries. The fact that the Tigers at $9 outside is accurate.
Oh, they've got up to $9 now. I think they're $8.50 when I looked this afternoon.
I expected to look
heavy money coming in for the Eels. Someone must know something. There must be some leaks. What's
I expected the Eels to be, put $1 on and get 90 cents back when they win. Yeah. Fuck me.
How do the Tigers win this one, mate?
They don't. If they, I'll tell you how they win. If they go down,
forfeit.
No, that's boring. If they go down with a series of, a collection of machetes and other makeshift weapons into the Parramatta dressing room and bludgeon all 17 Parramatta players to death. I still don't rate the Tigers to actually make their way to the field, but if they did, I think they may just score enough points to win the game if Parramatta did not compete in this match. It's the only way I see the Tigers winning. The hashtag defeated season will roll on again, and this is possibly, given it's fucking Mitchell Moses, who is always up to play the Tigers. And he's in outstanding form as well, which is quite frustrating. This is going to be a... I'd love... in years gone by, I'd be calling that this would be the biggest resurrection on Easter Monday in history. But can't see it fucking happening. I'm so fucking despondent and so dejected and disgusted with what the Tigers have dished up over the first 5 weeks of the competition that...
no way on earth.
There is no way they win this game.
And this makes it. This is like the worst start to a season they've ever had already, isn't it? Like last week's loss consigned them to that stat, wasn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
it is. Look, I do think it was a necessary step to put Hastings at 7 and give him. In the media they said that he's literally been told, okay, you're running the team now. I don't know if that's actually happened, but if it had, I think that's actually probably a smart move.
But the way that teams play with like a half on either side of the field, like the numbers don't really matter.
That's the only time, and people like, oh, Luke Brooks was Dally M half of the year. Well, yeah, but he
had a super coach at the time.
And also that award is widely considered to be mind-blowingly bullshit. And
shut your mouth! Shut your mouth! How dare you besmirch the integrity?
I'm
the only player to win it since Luke Brooks. Wow. Yeah, he's never going to be the guy that everyone can look to guide them and steer the team around, and he's just not.
No.
So you may as well make it very obvious that he's not, instead of pretending. And
they put the 6 on him so they can unleash his running game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be cute.
Like when Thomas Burgess unleashed his running game at the end of that game last year. We got to see those little legs.
Do you reckon this is actually a thing, or did Luke Brooks just go see Sonic 2 during the week? And now he's just, I want to run. Oh, I want to run, match.
Yeah. No.
Parramatta by 1 million.
Give me a legitimate prediction of the scoreline, Jay.
They could put 60 on.
Can we get a 50 though? I mean, under the new rule set, more stoppages. 60? 60.
10 tries.
10 tries, all converted, because Mitchell Moses is fairly accurate off the boot.
Yes.
All right.
I'm not going to argue with it.
Tigers going to score anything?
Not for junk time, surely. Yeah.
Not for junk time. 60 points to 12. Noffa's going to get 2.
Wow.
All junk time. It'll be 60. It'll be like 48-0. And then it'll be 12 all for the last 10 minutes of the game or 15 minutes of the game, and the Tigers will take that. Yeah. You will too, Glennie. You'll take that, and you'll be like, finish the game really strongly.
What am I getting?
We won the last 10 minutes.
Am I bringing the toxic positivity into the press conference? Am I?
Yeah.
We competed with them for 10 minutes. It was 12 all, and I was really proud of the boys' effort. And this is what we've been working on. It's good to see things starting to turn. I really got the sense that the boys, with the effort they've been putting in at training, fair enough, it hasn't been showing on the field, but those boys have been working so hard. They've been
Jesus Christ.
I'm just so proud.
Kill myself.
I'm just so proud of the boys that they've worked so hard and they were able to compete for that 10-minute period when the game was well and truly over.
Good, we've just done half of next week's episode too.
Look, the only positive I can say out of this for the West Tigers is that at least Madge he's dropped 4 guys, which has got to be the most significant roster change that he's made in his entire tenure at the club, right?
There was a time last year where he wielded the axe for a couple of weeks,
but it was only like
James.
It was only like James Roberts though, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it was only like one guy, I think.
Yeah.
And so, dropping 4 guys, although I don't know if you want to have a centre pairing of James Roberts, who's looked disinterested at best for the last 5 years, and Luke Garner, who we've previously established is not a centre.
No, you would say Luke Garner, given that he's played his entire career as a back rower, is a back rower. It's a revolutionary idea. But put 4 on his back. Look, why not?
It's the combination. It's when the two amazing elemental forces of Sheenius and Madge Ball combine. Just like Sheenius made you believe that Corey Patterson could play on the wing.
No,
Luke Garner will make you believe that a back rower can be a centre. I'm Glenn Blakely. That's it. That is it. Episode 454 in the can. Thanks for listening, everyone. Head to thisweekinleague.com/links to get the links to all our social communities, Patreon, and more. If you want to support the show, become a patron. Patreon.com/TWiL Nation. Come and join the fun. Additional episodes, merchandise, gifts, and more at higher levels. And speaking of merch, I asked in the last episode just to in the mailbag to signal your intentions. Would you prefer we're thinking like a hat, polo, that sort of thing. And while there were some early votes for hat, polo was the resounding winner. So I guess that the membership is going to contain a polo shirt. I've already got it ready to roll, so I'll put them up for sale, the memberships, over the next couple of days, and get in quick. And there will be a finite amount, because one of the items that I've got there in the memberships, there's a certain amount produced. There'll be no more. And so once that happens, once that number's hit, that is the end of that. And we might do the hat down the line, but we'll see how we go with that. And a special shout out to Cruzy, who, when I asked polo or hat, let me know which one, he came into the mailbag and said polo or hat. So thank you for incrementing both options by one and changing the balance, not one fucking iota.
If you have ever wondered if you matter, you don't.
Go and eat a fucking baby duck.
All right, fellas, do you want to raise anything else before we pull the pin on this one?
No, that's us.
All right,
We're outie.
See you next week.
See ya.
Later.